So in the next part, I need to make all these bricks such that I can start working on my foundation. This actually was a lot harder than I originally thought it was going to be. So I got the molds from many materials, finally. I unpacked it, and I was looking at it and thinking, I don't know if I'm going to be able to easily pull these bricks out of this mold, because the little pieces inside of the bricks that make the shapes where you put like rebar through, those pieces are like really tight. So I tried to cast a block like I did with the footer, just with some grout. And that was a pretty miserable failure. I tried to extract the block and it just crumbled into 100 million pieces. So I had to figure something else out. So I kind of started going down a different path. I took some air dry clay and I tried to push that into the mold, thinking that that would be able to dry and then I'd be able to extract it and that'd be a lot better. But two things. I didn't let it dry long enough, and when I tried to pull that out, it also kind of broke up into a bunch of pieces. So then I went down another path. I thought, what if I were to try to make my own blocks and cast those in some sand? So I made a frame for my sand to go in. I made a base plate piece that I'd mount all my little blocks on. And then I cut out a bunch of blocks, both using hand tools and with my bandsaw. Oh, and my drill press too. Then I mounted them onto my base plate. So once I put the shell around it that I'd made, I could pack that with sand. The thinking being I'd be able to turn the whole thing upside down, pull off the top now, and then have imprints I could pour some stuff into. And because it's sand, I could pull it apart really easily. That also didn't work all that well because, well, the sand doesn't stick to itself all that well, even when wet, and there's other things I could do, and I did a little more research online, but it turns out it would probably be more of a pain. So I finally started messing around with what I ended up doing. So I took the mold that I got, and I tried filling it with a mixture of three things: plaster, grout, and sand. Now that is really just because I figured plaster would set faster and also be a little lighter. So those three materials, I did a bunch of tests. I mixed them in lots of different proportions. The proportion that ended up working out the best was, I believe, 5 parts plaster, 4 parts grout, and 1 part sand. So after mixing that up, I was able to lubricate my mold. So I used some WD-40 to do that. Pour it in. And then I made a little makeshift oven out of a cardboard box to dry it in. Which, yeah, I know might be a little dangerous. I kept an eye on it the whole time. I could turn it off immediately. I had a fire extinguisher nearby. It's fine. So after pulling that out and trying to take the blocks out of the mold, they broke again on me into a lot of different pieces. So what I ended up doing, which solved this, I put a small little piece of wire that I bent into a special shape into this block. And this reinforced it across the axis that usually broke first. The thinking being the steel wire would take up the stresses that the block normally would be enduring and why it breaks. So that ended up working out really well. So I dialed in my proportions a bit more, got it so that I could make just enough for one pour. I only have one mold right now, so I really have to do it in one mold at a time. I can't do a bunch of molds at the same time. I ordered some more so I can do that, but they're still on the way. I wish I had something better to show, but unfortunately I spent most of my weekend playing around with mixing different things and trying different ideas. So instead I'm going to try to put something together, just like finishing up the blocks. But yeah, I mean, let me know what you think.
Bye.